Hello, everyone. I'm Brenda, Florida certified life coach, and this is our third video on imposter syndrome. So if you have imposter syndrome, you get into situations at work is where it happens the most, but it can happen at home and an organization you're volunteering in, whatever, where you feel like you're faking it, you're putting on a good show, but if anybody saw behind the curtain, they would know you don't know what you're doing, or you imagine yourself as being much less confident than the people you're with, or you see yourself as just being lucky. I was just in the right place at the right time. Or you see your skills as things that, like, anybody could do this, is a thing you would say to yourself. So in video one, in our little playlist here of imposter syndrome videos, I talk a little bit more about that. So you can go back and listen to those. And I've got 3 tools for you here. So the first one I covered in the first video, and then we had a second video. So the first was your feelings aren't facts. The second one was take an honest inventory of your skills. And this third one today is also super important in the equation, and that is that practice makes perfect. And this is a little different than the fake it till you make it, which, whatever, is a nice sentiment. And I've done fake it till you make it. But when I say practice makes perfect, think of practice as more like rehearsal, okay? So this is where you take the best version of yourself and even the version of yourself that you're growing into, okay? So being able to sort of look down into the future and say, you know what, when I've grown a little more, I know that I will be able to go into situations more confident. How would I act? What would I be thinking if I was already that version of myself? Okay, let me practice it. When I go into this meeting today, I'm going to practice being more confident. What does a more confident person think? What does a more confident person feel? Right? Like, you're breaking this down, it's practice. Or think about a yoga pose, right? Like when you're learning a new yoga pose, you need to have it broken down. So yes, an overview of the whole pose is great, but then you need to know, okay, like, what exactly are my arms doing? What are my legs doing? What's my torso doing? What am I doing with my neck? How am I breathing? Like, you need it broken down. And so the same thing is true with life, and super true with imposter syndrome, because it's called imposter syndrome because it's not true, right? You feel like you're being an imposter, but you're not. You're a badass. You're good at what you do. And yes, like we talked about in the second video, there may be things you need to improve on. Absolutely. My last client I was coaching through imposter syndrome, we talked about that, and that there may actually, there may be some real skills she needs to improve on. No problem, because when we're in our badass self, our brilliant self, I like to say, when we're owning our brilliance, then we know we have weaknesses and we're not ashamed about those. Everybody has them. We're human. It's part of the condition. And of course, I want to be better and more evolved in a year than I am today, let alone 5 years or 10 years or 20 years. So of course, there's always room to grow and places to evolve and change. So when you're in your badassery mode, you can deal with that. That doesn't shake your confidence. You can ask for help, say you don't know, whatever, and that's okay, because it's all just part of the learning curve, and it's part of you being exactly who you are, which is fabulous, okay? When we're stuck in imposter syndrome, those things seem like, a walk of shame to admit we don't know something, or we need help with something, or whatever. And imposter syndrome really drives all those thoughts and feelings that devalue you and make you feel like you're not good enough, okay? So in these 3 tools that I've given you, what I want you to do is start to move yourself from that imposter feeling to a more badass. And you may not get there in one leap, right? That's okay. It's a journey, not one, we don't go to one yoga class and we have all the poses, okay? So same thing with life. So getting you on that journey to more confidence and dealing with the things that, your specific triggers. And this is why I've said in each video, and I'll spend a few minutes with this today, this is why getting a coach is so, so, so important. because you may not even know how to practice this, right? Like you may need somebody who's gone farther down the journey in this than you have to suggest, how, okay, so how would I handle this situation? So my coaching style is very practical. I'm very pragmatic in that way. I am not so interested in lofty concepts and ideals of enlightenment and self-realization and all those things unless we can put them to work in our real lives, right? Who cares if it works when I'm alone or at a retreat or something? I mean, that's nice. It's a great experience. But then when I get back to work, what am I going to do? What's the conversation I'm going to have? What's the conversation I'm going to have with myself first? How do I really do this step of practicing? And so this is why coaching is so important. And I don't say that just because I am a coach. Long before I became a coach, I paid a lot of coaches and therapists to help me do all the things that I help clients do. So, and I still do today. Like we just all need, we should not be expecting ourselves to create transformation on these kinds of things in our lives that are deeply embedded in us. These seeds of imposter syndrome were probably planted when you were a very small child. And none of us can undo those patterns by ourselves. Like it's just too much. For starters, those patterns are all in our unconscious mind. So we have about 90 to 95% of our mind that is unconscious or in the subconscious, not unconscious like I got knocked out because I got hit in the head with a ball, not like that. But we have the conscious part of our mind. That's the part you're aware of that is doing thinking and feeling and acting and behaving, right? So I'm aware of that. I'm aware I'm on video with you right now, da, da, da. Okay. And then there's this unconscious or subconscious part of the mind that is where all of our habits are. That's where all the sort of programs are, if you want to think of it like a computer. And so that's why you don't have to think about what to do with the toothbrush every time you look at it, right? You already know, you have a habit. Yes, you had to learn, somebody had to teach you when you were very little what it is, how to hold it, to put toothpaste on it, to brush, more than once in each spot, up and down, sides, in, out, all of it. So somebody had to teach you that, you practiced it several times, and then it got so routine that now for the rest of your life, you don't forget or not know what to do with the toothbrush. You automatically 2 or 3 times a day go grab that toothbrush and use it probably before you're even thinking about the fact that you're brushing your teeth. You could be listening to a podcast, thinking about the day ahead, the day behind, whatever, and you're just on automatic pilot. Well, all of these things that we absorbed as children emotionally, all the traumas, all the negative messages, whether they were intended to be or not, because lots of people say things in a harmless fashion that end up hurting us as children, right? That's where all those things are. They're down there in that bucket, way down where that how do I brush my teeth thing came from. And it takes somebody outside of you to help you see those, find those, and bring them up to that conscious level so you can make the choice thereof. No, wait a minute. I don't want that anymore. That's not serving me anymore. Okay, and now that I know that, how do I actually start changing things? How do I have a different conversation with my boss? How do I get the courage to get a new job? How do I stop playing small in my marriage or with my family or whatever? And so we all really need a coach to be with us to help us do that. It's like having, someone with no agenda, right? Because I'm not caught up in whether or not my clients do things or not. I just want them to be their best selves, right? I have no agenda in the equation except to help you find that best version of yourself, to help you find those things that got buried, that come out in that subconscious mind, those habits, and pop themselves out in your real world in a way that you may not even realize they're happening. So if you're interested in working with me, I love to explore working together through a 15-minute phone call. we'll just have, you know, a quick call, and I can tell, and normally the person on the other end of the phone can tell too in 15 minutes whether or not you think you can work with me, and whether or not I think I can help you with whatever it is you're wanting to have a breakthrough on, whether it's imposter syndrome or something else. So just email me at brenda@brendaflorida.com. Super simple, brenda@brendaflorida.com, or you can go to my website, brendaflorida.com. And on the coaching page towards the bottom, there's a link there to the 15-minute call if you just want to hop straight to that. So I hope to hear from you. I hope these videos on imposter syndrome will help you. And don't be discouraged when you watch the videos and you get it, it makes total sense, and you go to work tomorrow and you still get triggered by imposter syndrome. That's why you need a good coach. So I hope to see you soon in my inbox or on a 15-minute call. I'm Brenda Florida, certified life coach. Take care.